It's a pleasure to introduce Mr. John Allert, who's the Chief Marketing Officer, Board Director at the McLaren Technology Group. Originally qualifying as a graphic designer in Australia, John has over 25 years' experience advising leading global brands in Asia Pacific, in Europe, and in the UK, where he's been based since 2003. During his time at McLaren, John has built a reputation as one of the UK's leading practitioners in digital branding, sports marketing, and brand-integrated content. John and his team's work at McLaren have attracted and have been recipients of a plethora of industry recognition awards. I can't list them all tonight, there's been too many, but clearly he's been a great success, and we now look forward to hearing from him, and I'd like to invite you all to join me in welcoming him to the stage. Please.
Thanks, Diala. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's a great honor for me and my colleagues from McLaren to be here at the 12th Annual GPCA Forum. Fantastic setting. There's been an extraordinary number of speakers, and the transformational theme of the program is one that has been very stimulating for us, I'm sure for you as well, and it's one that I'm looking forward to continuing with this morning. As Diala said, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of the McLaren Technology Group. For those of you who don't know, the McLaren Group is a 4,000-person strong business based in the UK, famous, of course, for our Formula One business, most recently also for our supercar and road car business, and latterly a 500-strong person business in applied technologies. But I'm here today to talk to you about the energy to transform the world, and my belief that Formula One is really at the forefront of driving innovation, and particularly efficiency. And efficiency is a theme that I look forward to exploring further. I've worked in Formula One for 10 years, and in that 10 years, I've really watched the convergence of what is I guess, almost a Venn diagram of different themes around Formula One. Most notably, of course, traditionally Formula One is synonymous with a glamorous lifestyle. It is, of course, also an incredible sporting spectacle, highly athletic sporting spectacle. But foremost in 2017, and as we roll into 2018, it is very much a cradle of innovation around technology. And the convergence of those three areas in that Venn diagram really puts Formula One at the center point of engagement, not just of the likes of downstream customers, B2C customers, but also at the center point of innovation and driving innovation for business. But rather than me talk about Formula One, I thought it might be a refreshing way to start the morning to let some pictures do the speaking for me.
Of my car.
I'm going to pee in your seat. He wants to play bumper cars or something. I got hit from the side. What's that? Me and my left front tire. So loser. What is Ocon doing?
if that doesn't get your adrenaline pumping, nothing will. So that story, I guess, is a story reasonably well told. It's a story that's probably not unfamiliar to you, but it's a slightly different story that I'm going to talk to you about this morning. So McLaren has been part of that incredible world and has been lucky to be part of that world for over 50 years. The oldest Formula One team on the grid, with the exception of Ferrari, having won 182 races, 20 world championships, with extraordinary and phenomenal names in our sport, the likes of Emerson Fittipaldi, Niki Lauda, James Hunt, Mika Hakkinen, Lewis Hamilton, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, all championship winners with McLaren. And we've been doing this since 1963. So hopefully our survival at least has taught us a few things about technology and about innovation. But our story is also a Formula One story, and Formula One in itself has an insatiable appetite for performance, an insatiable appetite for incremental gains and pushing the envelope forward in terms of the pursuit of technologies. The story I'm going to talk to you about today, though, sits behind this glamorous spectacle, and it's a story, I guess, of another intersecting Venn diagram between the opportunity that sits in the middle point of Formula One as an incubator of technology and innovation and the petrochemicals industry, which itself, as you've been exploring over the last 2 to 3 days, is itself on a journey of innovation around efficiency. And both of us live in a world where we have an insatiable appetite for energy consumption. And it's rare for a speaker in a forum like this to talk about the present. We're very hung up on the future, and particularly in energy consumption, we're understandably very focused on new sources of energy, new sources of innovation, what tomorrow is going to look like, what the cars of tomorrow are going to look like. But there is something here to be said for focusing on what we can be doing in the present. And one of the takeaways I'd like for you this morning to have is a sense that we together could work on being pioneers of the present. While understanding the future is imperative to unlocking advancement for both your own industry and for our own, it is only going to be achieved by what we can action here and now, today, and this is what Formula One is doing. We, unlike you, are judged 20 times a year on a global stage, 85 million live viewers every weekend that we race. In a similar way, I guess, you are being judged in real time as well. You're being judged by the markets, you're being judged by the media, you're being judged by governments. And there is an opportunity there, of course, for us to hold hands and move forward in terms of innovation and the incubation of innovation, to manage our stakeholders just as you need to manage yours. And we must extract every ounce of performance, both industries, from the diverse range of technologies that we both have today. There's a lot of talk about the changing landscape in energy, alternative fuels. There's a lot of talk in the media, there's a lot of talk amongst government, but still it remains that 87% of the world's energy consumption is made up of carbon fuels. And whilst McLaren is committed to making a positive contribution to renewals, indeed we have a number of different awards for sustainability. Most notably, recently we were the first Formula One business to be awarded the FIA Gold Standard for carbon efficiency. But the greatest positive impact that we can have together over the next 20 years is how we can make carbon fuels more efficient. We fully embrace the regulations around the hybridization of cars, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the work that we're doing in that area. But most importantly, McLaren and Formula One generically is at the forefront of research and development into fuels, additives, materials, and even the power and the energy density of battery packs, McLaren being a key supplier to Formula E as well as a renowned Formula One business. In short, when everyone else is talking about the future of fuel, we think we all need to have a greater commitment to extracting efficiency in the present. And in the world of Formula One, where performance is paramount, efficiency will always prevail. Efficiency is a currency in Formula One equivalent to weight. And weight, of course, as you all know, is the enemy of speed. Indeed, the drive for efficiency is not a new one in Formula One. In fact, notably, if we go back to 1985, there was the curious and almost hilarious situation of teams trying to manage their fuel efficiency to such a ludicrous level at the San Marino Grand Prix in 1985 that only 5 of 26 starters in that race actually finished the race due to miscalculations on fuel use. Thankfully, we've moved on somewhat from then. But Formula One stands now, in 2017, very much as the world's greatest energy efficiency laboratory, operating in real time, developing efficiency technologies that can have transportability or portability into wider industry. So the thermal efficiency of road cars, as you're well aware, is approximately 30 to 32%. Now, the thermal efficiency of current Formula One power units is almost at 49%, and 50% seems a very realistic opportunity for us in the next year or two. Now, I'm not claiming that all of this technology is transferable into the road car industry, but we are in the driving seat of technology development that does have portability, and it therefore follows that the petrochemicals industry is playing a key role alongside us in this pursuit of efficiency, but could be doing a lot more. It won't surprise you to know that I believe Formula One is the greatest racing spectacle on the planet. But what you may not be aware of is the real race. And the real race for us as an industry is illustrated by us having over 1,000 people back at McLaren in the UK who are continuously, day in, day out, in a drive for research and development, advantage through incremental gains. It may also surprise you that the Formula One industry is one of extreme speed around R&D and development of the cars themselves. Indeed, across a single season, approximately 75% of a Formula One car will change, re-engineered throughout the season for greater performance. And indeed, most of those parts are changed more than once. In fact, we make a design change on a Formula One car, on average, an incredible 17 minutes. Every 17 minutes, 24 hours a day for 9 months of the year, we will upgrade and update a part on the Formula One team. Such is the speed of the rapid prototyping and the R&D and innovation in Formula One. Now, in 2014, Formula One made quite a significant engine regulation change, as the governing body, quite rightly, sought to bring about greater relevance between our own industry, our own sport, and the road car business. And of course, in Formula One, as ever, rule changes drive innovation. And that's enabled manufacturers to create new technology that can be used in road cars. And here I'm talking about efficiency, but Formula One has an incredible pedigree of bringing innovation, whether it be in carbon fiber composite materials, whether it be ABS systems in braking, whether it be power steering. These are all technologies that have, at their heart, been sped up through the development and application of those technologies in Formula One. But energy recovery plus efficiency are both at the heart of what we believe we can now be focusing on. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about fuel consumption versus power consumption as it's played out in Formula One over the last few years. There's been a dramatic increase in the efficiency of the power units that we use in Formula One, driven, of course, by the change in regulations. And this really is our sport's untold story. So if we start over there on the far left, back in 2004, all the teams raced on 3-litre V10 engines, which operated at approximately 30% thermal efficiency, as I've said before, roughly equivalent to that of an ordinary road car. And as you will have also experienced, many of you, that equated to noise. Noise equated to sporting spectacle. But underlying that noise, of course, was the fact that most of that noise was being created through inefficiency in the way that we were operating those power units. Those engines generated approximately 750 brake horsepower, but consumed an incredible 200 kilograms of fuel every hour. That's 271 litres of fuel every hour. That's double the fuel flow rate of today's Formula One power units. Then between 2006 and 2013, we raced with a much smaller 2.4 litre V8 engine, and the sport introduced hybrid technology through the KERS, or Kinetic Energy Recovery System technology, for the first time, effectively making Formula One a hybrid series. And in April of this year, our V6 1.6 litre engines, plus energy recovery system power, uses 40% less fuel, but crucially now generates more power. And yes, for those of you who are in Abu Dhabi will note it also creates less noise. That's more a controversial topic than the fuel that we've saved. And we now have two alternative energy sources within a Formula One power unit, the MGUH, the motor generator unit heat, and the MGUK, the motor generator unit kinetic, both very good examples of technology advancement. The MGUH harvesting heat energy generated by the turbo and generating 160 brake horsepower from a motor that is no larger than this can of drink, operating at 100,000 revolutions per minute. That's enough energy to drive a family hatch car. Quite extraordinary. The kinetic energy, in 2021, Formula One will move yet again to a new power unit, taking us even further towards road-relevant technologies. The kinetic energy harvest and deployment in those new regulations will increase from 100 kilowatts to 150 kilowatts in the MGUK, the kinetic energy recovery system. And the internal combustion engine will remain a 1.6 litre V6 featuring lean burn technology. And lean burn technology is being pioneered and driven by Formula One more than any other industry in the world. And that new power unit perfectly complements the road car path of lower capacity, greater efficiency, and turbocharging with hybridization. This image may be familiar to some of you. If using efficiency to enhance performance beyond the world of Formula One sounds to you somewhat like science fiction or fantasy, we at McLaren believe we can talk about this because we've already done it. We believe that we have the authority to play a leading role in the development of this technology. And hopefully you'll already understand that naturally we've already incorporated many of our Formula One learnings into this P1 supercar. Indeed, we've actually applied many of those technologies banned in Formula One because of their overt advantage that they were giving the team to the power unit and to the development of the P1 that can be driven on the roads today. Launched in 2012, this extraordinary car redefined the rules of performance and efficiency, most critically, in the world of high-performance supercars. And I could tell you more about it. In fact, I'm sure some of you could tell me about it. But instead of me doing that, let's just, for a minute, see what our old friend Jeremy Clarkson thinks of the car.
Is made from just 5 panels, which means less glue and fewer bolts are needed to hold it all together. All of this means that despite the bank of batteries and the fact it has 2 engines, this car weighs less than a Vauxhall Astra.
That, of course, makes it economical. And fast. Really fast. Mind-blowingly fast. me just slow it down while I explain what's going on here. The electric motor and the big V8 generator are working together so that I have at my disposal 903 brake horsepower.
Enough from Jeremy. So hybrid technology was further developed by McLaren for our most recent supercar, which you may have read about, the 720S, which is a $350,000 supercar that will outrun the vast majority of million-dollar supercars currently on the market. And it's a car with the same CO2 emissions as its predecessor, the 570S, despite 140 brake horsepower increase in power. Innovation indeed. Now, if you promise not to tell anyone, I'll show you a picture of the new No, in fact, I won't. I'm sorry, I'm just joking. On December the 10th, we will unveil our most extreme road car yet. It's codenamed the P15. My colleagues will be out in the foyer afterwards if you want to put your names down. The P15 will see further innovation in internal combustion engine efficiency, but I can't give the game away here this morning, so watch this space. So today I'd really like you to take away 4 key points. We at McLaren and in Formula One are pushing the boundaries of science and technology for performance in Formula One. However, we're also transferring this advancement to road cars, most critically, and power units in general. We as an industry and we at McLaren are, we believe, at the forefront of hybrid technology development and coupling that hybrid technology with lean burn internal combustion engines, the most efficient way to date to use energy in the coming decades. And we want to listen to your industry and establish new partnerships with your industry, and particularly in this region, under which knowledge can be shared for the benefit of all. We very much would love you to come and join us in this unique competition. Thank you very much.